Phishing attacks are on the rise, growing in number and sophistication year over year. Phishing simulations are the only way to train employees on real-life threats in their own inbox. Existing solutions require time and resources to implement, which often leads to infrequent and ineffective training with no significant results. For large enterprises, deployment and ongoing operation without progress becomes a daunting task. Cybeready offers the only autonomous training platform that significantly increases corporate resilience and eliminates IT overhead. Here's how it works. On the left is your team, tasked with training the entire workforce. On the right, your employees. Cybeready's Smart Engine suggests a short list of simulations based on your company profile. Employees are clustered into virtual groups based on organizational structure and learning progress. Each employee is trained monthly on different attack vectors. The difficulty levels constantly adjust per employee performance. Our machine learning engine makes all these complex decisions. The localization engine pre-translates the content to 35 languages and locale. Now we do it all over again. Every month, every employee. Employees who fail a phishing simulation are immediately trained on what they failed to notice. Real-time results are reported back to your dashboard that analyzes advanced KPIs such as serial clickers, risk group distribution, and employee resilience score. Contact Cybeready for the only autonomous training platform that guarantees corporate resilience.
Hello to you all and welcome to Improvate's Cybersecurity 2021 conference. I'm Lauren Iso. Cybeready's autonomous learning platform makes security awareness training easy, effective, and frictionless. Cybeready's fully managed solution has proven to change employee behavior in hundreds of enterprises worldwide. Let's learn more.
When it comes to security awareness training, do you feel like you're stuck in the 90s? Modern security teams are constantly looking for automated, data-driven solutions to scale their operations. Unfortunately, when it comes to employee training, many large enterprises are still struggling with dated products that are not providing measurable results. Cybeready offers the only autonomous training platform for enterprises. It is fully managed and designed to help your team achieve much more with less resources. Cybeready offers two premier products: Blast for adaptive phishing simulation and training, CAB for continuous awareness training. Both solutions ensure maximum engagement of all stakeholders while significantly reducing the burden on your IT. Blast utilizes machine learning engine and adaptive phishing simulations. This effective monthly employee training significantly changes employee behavior towards phishing and mitigates ongoing cybersecurity risk. CAB offers a modern approach to awareness training by engaging busy employees and building a positive cybersecurity culture all year round. Cybeready also increases trainee and management collaborations through fully autonomous reporting, messaging, and communication layers. Both Blast and CAB include built-in KPIs enabling you to identify ROI, track progress, and monitor results, all in real time. If you are looking to engage employees and drive real cybersecurity change, don't compromise any longer. Secure the success of your training efforts and transform your cybersecurity culture with Cybeready, the only autonomous training platform that works for you.
Mike Polacek is the co-founder of Cybeready and currently serves as the Chief Strategy Officer and is responsible for shaping the company's vision and strategy. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start by talking a little bit about the company's vision.
Yep. So as we saw, we are addressing the human aspect of the security chain. And our vision is quite simple, actually. It's providing readiness for all in a single click. So allow me to break it down to its three components. Actually, readiness is the human ability to respond accurately and quickly enough to any cyber threat. And in our dynamic environment, it's quite a crucial skill. For all, it means all of us, from enterprise employees to small businesses, from nations to citizens, kids, our grandparents, in short, all. And in a single click means that we need to achieve this ability as easy as adding a new app to our mobile phone or something like that. So just single click and then we'll all be ready.
Sounds simple. So how was this vision born?
All right, so the vision was born actually during my long consulting career when I had the opportunity to work with many CISOs and combining my professional knowledge about human learning and organizational learning processes. For learning professionals, they need to follow a few simple principles, easy said than done. So the idea was to come up with a solution that will embed these principles automatically in a single click and ensure that any awareness training program will follow them without having any difficulties or limitations.
So how does Cybeready realize this vision in practice?
So in practice, we actually provide an autonomous platform that embeds those learning principles. It works almost like a plug-and-play platform that our CISOs, our customers actually have almost nothing to do. The system runs 365 days a year and allows them to manage actually a full, compliant, comprehensive awareness training program, which drives significant results. And the results are actually defining or establishing a security culture within the company. And that meets our vision to allow readiness for all in a single click.
Fantastic. Can you give us some idea of where the company is heading with projects in the coming years?
The company actually is evolving from almost one quarter to another, adding more content and more capabilities to our platform. We're operating now, of course, here in Israel, in most of the European countries and in the US market. We are heading now to our new friends in the Emirates, and later on, we will add more triggers to our system, but that's on our roadmap.
All right, some very exciting stuff. Mike Polachek, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And this webinar was arranged by Simon, our local partner, in collaboration with the IRC. And without further ado, I would like to present Harvey Morrison, Cybeready CRO. Harvey, the floor is all yours.
Hey, thanks very much, Jerome, and thanks, Simon, for hosting this webinar with us. I really appreciate the opportunity to meet with everybody today. So thanks again for joining. As Jerome said, I'm Harvey Morrison, the Chief Revenue Officer here at Cybeready. And with me, I have Demi Corden, who is our Key Account Executive, who handles our work in Africa region. So really excited to be here today. We've got a quick overview presentation for you, and then Demi's going to dive into a demo. So Jerome, if you please go to the next slide. Yeah, I always like to start with a state of the industry as really a background and a foundation for our conversation today. As security professionals, I'm sure you're all well aware of, the numbers that are out there. An alarming 341% increase over the last 12 months in phishing attacks, targeting both companies and government entities. So nobody is immune to this. And ransomware, as we all know, continues to be an issue across the spectrum. But some folks don't know, and this is what we like to highlight too, the majority of ransomware is the result of a phishing campaign. And as you know, with ransomware, it affects not only how organizations are able to conduct their internal day-to-day operations, but it also affects how organizations are able to deliver services and support to their customers. So it affects the entire organization, not only how you're operating, but how you're interacting with customers and generating revenue and supporting those customers, those types of things. These attacks end up being extremely costly for organizations. Some estimates have a single ransomware attack costing in the millions of dollars. Also, studies are suggesting that organizations that have been successfully attacked by ransomware or successfully attacked in a phishing campaign are at greater risk of being attacked yet again. So don't think, hey, I've gotten through it one time, they're not going to target me again. They're more than likely going to come back and try to hit you one more time. So again, risks continue to go up. Costs associated with these hacks continue to go up. And Ron, if you'll go to the next slide, it just again highlights a little more detail around the data in the industry. And again, this isn't, Cybeready saying, hey, everybody's having issues. This is actual industry data that should be alarming. It's alarming to us. It should be alarming to other folks. You remember, you able to hit the next slide? Yeah, thank you. Again, just to give you some more data about what's going on. And the thing to think about here and ask you to kind of pause is while this information of the number of attacks continue to go up year over year, the costs associated with these attacks going up is alarming. In our opinion at Cybeready, this isn't really the real problem that organizations are facing when it comes to phishing and ransomware. Jerome, if you'll go to the next slide, please. The real problem is the overall effectiveness of your security training programs that are in place. So a lot of organizations today have invested in security training programs, security awareness programs, and the alarming data shows that these programs are not effective. So you got yourself in a situation where the number of phishing attacks continue to go up, the cost associated with those attacks continue to go up. You've invested in security awareness training programs. And again, this isn't us sort of espousing things. The data backs it. Even with training programs in place, 46% of employees still struggle with phishing emails. 1 in 5 employees fall for phishing emails, even though they've been trained. And that's a 77% increase year over year. So that we think is the real problem organizations should be focusing on. Because the nation states and folks trying to hack you, it's never going to go away. So you're not going to be able to stop that. But what you can affect as an organization is the effectiveness of your security awareness programs, and making sure your employees are able to and ready to combat that. So we at Cybeready think the main reason for this lack of results in security awareness training is directly tied to a lack of employee engagement with your training programs. We'll talk about this, and you'll see this when Demi walks through the demo. A recent study published by the U.S. government highlighted that one of the biggest acknowledged problems with cybersecurity training today is waning engagement and growing indifference. So, and let me just give you sort of a firsthand picture of what we think this looks like, and you've probably seen this too, right? An employee takes, he gets phished. So there's a phishing email that comes out from your security awareness training program. The employee clicks on it, and they're required to go to a separate system to register and take a training course. The employee then takes the course, which is probably a 30-minute course that's got good content that talks about, why they shouldn't have clicked on this email. But the problem is, while this video, this content is running on their laptop, this class, they're not taking notes on it. They're doing their email. They're, working on a presentation. They're doing anything but paying attention to that training program, right? And so while the number of phishing attacks, continue to increase, the real problem is we feel like employees are not equipped to deal with the issues that are associated with it because they're not engaged in the training that they're doing. And it's not because the content's not good. As you'll see in the demo, It's the way the content is delivered to those employees, and it's how the content is created that creates that engagement that ensures employees are going to be learning. So if you'll go to the next slide, please, Yaron. Just a quick overview on what you're going to see today. So Cybeready is an innovative security awareness training platform that focuses on what we believe the real metrics organizations should be tracking, which are increasing engagement, and by this, increasing overall employee readiness, right? So the more engaged your employees are with the training, the more they're going to learn. And the more they learn, the more engaged they're going to be and ready to combat these cyber attacks. So last slide, if you would, please, Hiram. So let's talk about how you drive engagement in your security awareness training program and some of the key concepts that we at Cybeready firmly believe in. You know, we've got 4 of them highlighted here. And again, Demi's going to highlight these as she walks through the demo. But learning in the flow of work, we think, is really key. So an employee clicks on a link in a phishing training program, you need to highlight for them right then and there that they've made a mistake. Don't make them go and register for a class and then a week later take that class. The moment to make true impact and impression on that employee is lost. So the training needs to be delivered at the moment the infraction happens, and it needs to be delivered in the flow of work. And Demi's going to show you that. Continuous bites. Training shouldn't be long and arduous. That's why we feel like that US study that says there's indifference and waning engagement in training. It's because employees are overloaded and they're just tired of it. And because of that, they're losing, or training's losing its impact and effectiveness. In order to make it effective, training should be continuous and in small consumable bites. And again, delivered at the time when the mistake is made. Again, this we feel like drives engagement and drives impactfulness. Training needs to be delivered in context, right? So if I'm an employee in finance, I shouldn't be getting trained about things on IT or things on HR, right? And the system should be smart enough to take feedback from, I clicked on this, I didn't click on that, to continually update that training to keep it challenging. So if you challenge your employees through their training, make it relevant to what they're doing, they're going to be really engaged. And the last piece we like to talk about is automation. And you may ask, you know, what role does automation play in engagement? Well, many cyber organizations today, and I'm sure you all feel this, are woefully understaffed. And having a platform that can automate the task of generating these emails, taking the feedback from the folks, what they've clicked, what they haven't clicked, updating those emails, and continuously providing updated, fresh content, that's going to help drive engagement. And the Cybeready platform automates a lot of these things. It also enables you to generate really great reports, so you can start to see and report to upper management, this is the effectiveness of our training program. This is maybe where we need to improve. So again, this whole automation is going to make, you know, your life easier, but also allow you to deploy a world-class training organization to enable your employees. So that is just a quick background on what we've got. But again, I'm going to turn it over to Demi to run the demo. But the things to really think about are my employees engaging with the training that's being delivered? Because if they're not, it's like giving them a book that has all the answers in it, but they don't read the book, right? If they're not engaging with the training, they're not learning. And if they're not learning, these are the results, right? You're going to continue to get phished. Employees are going to continue to turn over their credentials. And you're going to scratch your head going, I don't know why we gave them all this content, but they're not doing it. And what we think you need to really look at is the engagement of it. So I'll pause there and turn it over to Demi. If you have questions as we're going through this, please, you know, we have the chat there. Don't hesitate to enter the questions. Demi, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Harvey. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Demi Cordone over here. I've actually been in the industry for just about 9 years now. I've had the experience for the last 5 years to be in learning and development. I have worked with some other vendors that are in there. And Harvey, you always say the most key points, which is really like that engagement is so important. And so as he discussed some of the stats that support it right now, we even realized that like the average amount of successes are going up by 77% year over year. And so the fact that, we're still having all of these programs that are running right now, but we're still getting these attacks and they're becoming even more successful, makes us have to really centralize our focus on, what we're doing here. Is that training effective and are we engaging users? And so super excited to show you guys the platform today. We're going to start really in the dashboard and give you a highlight of how to get started with Cybeready. And then after that, I want to show you, what some of this training and context looks like, what some of these continuous bites look like. And so get excited and enjoy the ride. So you guys can all see my screen, okay? Perfect. So the first thing when you log into your Cybeready portal, you're going to be able to see a quick dashboard snapshot of what's been happening within your environment. So when we're trying to figure out, are my users understanding what's, being, sent out? Are they interacting with it? We're able to quickly see what's been happening within our phishing campaign side. Have users been clicking on these emails? Of the email sets that are going out right now, how many of them are contributing to high risk user groups and profiles? And then as well as making sure that we're comparing what is happening from a training bites perspective. So are my users interacting and engaging with this? How are they then doing on the quiz questions that they have? And how many bytes are being sent, because Cybeready believes in a 360-degree approach, and so every day at some point we are going to be engaging with one of your users. The last portion is a snapshot of fish cage. Are your users continuing to report emails now that they're seeing that they're becoming suspicious, as well as how have they done on their compliance training? Now, to go back to Harvey's point right now, we have to be measuring this effectiveness of your training program. And so we have defined effectiveness in three portions. The phishing risk score change, like how much risk has my employees changed since I've started doing the training within the last quarter? Are my users reporting? So, are they knowing the differences of spam versus phishing, unknown, known good, known bad, as well as the awareness bites? Are they getting interactive with the different topics? And so I will start over here and really start to show you how we get started. And so one of the very first things we do is, of course, we'll do an Active Directory integration. We do some whitelisting and a DNS registration, but that's when we get to the good spots. Our organizational profile is a way for us to talk directly to the machine learning model to make it more effective so we can better understand your IT environment. And so within this, we want to get a sense of who your organization is, what type of critical infrastructure you have, even what type of industries that you have. That way, when we start to send out our phishing emails and we start to really devise what needs to go out to your users to understand their proficiency levels, we understand how to be more tailored within your environment.
Hey,
So for
Demi,
example,
just
yes,
just a couple. Sorry, just a couple of comments. I want to
no,
make sure I
perfect.
highlight.
Yes.
Is one, the amount of time it takes to onboard an organization into Cybeready is literally hours. It's not a week-long deployment that takes, a great deal of time. Demi went through it there quickly for sake of time, but it is very straightforward, very easy to onboard a client into Cybeready. One. The second thing there, Demi, that you've highlighted, which is really good, this is where engagement starts, is by making sure we and our machine learning algorithms understand your organization, because context drives everything, right? So if you are a Google shop, we do not want to be phishing you with a bunch of Microsoft stuff. We want to make sure it is relevant and in context to what you're doing. that again starts to drive this engagement. And so Demi's highlighting a lot of that, but that's what this first piece, this profile is all about, is about building out the contextual diagram of your organization so we can start to fish you in a very appropriate manner. Sorry, Demi, go ahead.
Yes. No, perfect. That was a perfect addition to it. So exactly what Harvey just said, like being able to understand what is here is going to drive that context for the emails that are coming out. And so once we are able to understand your environment and we understand this organizational profile, we'll take you over to the training section and head you into the phishing campaigns. Now, with all of that information that you just shared with us, our machine learning platform is going to create some suggested emails that we think that would be good. Now, keep in mind, we have over 500 customers, 5 million data points. We are comparing against other industries, against revenue bands, against employee sizes. And so there's a lot into what we are going to see here. And basically, we're going to use these emails to start off your organization with the baseline. Our baseline runs for about 90 days. This is how we start to understand whether your users are high risk, medium, or low. And based on that, they automatically get put into programs that are going to help them reduce their risk within their environment and overall be less clickers for you. And so once we send you out a template, once we're on our onboarding, we will show you what some of these suggested emails look like for you to start. Feel free to, shuffle out any template that you feel like isn't going to be a good fit, exact match for your organization. Once you feel great about all of these templates that you're seeing on your left, all you do is click this activate button. And then from there, you turn on autopilot and you are all done. So in the midst of this, we offer so many different options for you. So within these emails, each of these are, able to be editable. And so if there's something specific that you just wanted to do to this email, we could. In addition to that, we also offer the opportunity for you to create your own custom simulations. And so we allow you to, really match that attack vector and what type of custom simulation you're creating or template to the suspicious signs that your users should be able to identify. And so what ends up happening is within this, hour-long onboarding call and these couple of hours of you guys running Cybeready, you end up developing like a fully matured security program that is going to continue to run on its own. And so everything that I show you guys from here on out, this is the extent of work that you do within the Cybeready console. Everything I show you from here on out is just what our system is doing for you to save you time.
Yeah, so it's a great way to integrate AI and machine learning into what you're doing. So it's not replacing the training organization. What it's doing is it's making you more efficient, right? It's filtering through all the things you don't want to share that. This isn't relevant. And then saying this is the most relevant. Now, if you want to use it, use it. If you want to go in and tweak it, tweak it. But it makes it much more relevant for you and makes your job that much more easier so you can be more effective with what you're doing. The one thing, Demi, I did want to just make sure you highlight in this area, again, around making it more engaging with customers or employees and more in context, is the number of foreign languages that we automatically support out of the box.
Great point. So we have over 42 different languages here. Because we will be doing an integration with your Active Directory or your Google Workspace, we automatically will be searching for, the locations of your employees and automatically sending everything that you see here directly out in the language of their choice or of the region, because we find that when a user learns in their native tongue, it increases their retention by 80%. And so we've definitely spent a lot of time, but I want to show you guys quickly what one of these emails will look like. And so what you see over here is a typical Microsoft password change email. We want to see, what your users are going to do. And so the minute that your users actually click on that link, this is where we are really going to start to put in that learning in the flow of work. And so the first thing we want to know, and this is going to contribute to their risk factor, is, hey, are these people going to enter in their credentials or not? Because we do not want advanced persistent threats. Um, and then once your user, clicks on that link, they enter in that their credentials, it immediately is going to pop open that learning and flow, immediate corrective behavior. Hey, here's some of the things that you should have looked out for on that email that you just saw. All of this would be colored, branded to your organization. But in addition, we also understand where, society is as a whole in terms of like content. And so when we talk about having things that are concise, it's everyone is on, YouTube reels and like Instagram shorts and TikTok. And so as we see users' ability to retain information is starting to decrease. And so we want to make sure that, especially if you're in the workflow, you're in these professional services, there is so much you have to do on a daily basis. You don't want to have to get up and go take a training that's 30 minutes long and then come back to your flow of work. But now instead, you can immediately see what you should have looked out for in 90 seconds or less. And it definitely attributes to risk reduction within the environment.
Yeah, again, I think the thing to highlight here is the folks from Cybeready were all in learning and development, right? So they came at this first and foremost, not as let's write a book or let's write a bunch of content on cyber. They came at it from what's going to be the best way to provide or drive learning and development within an organization. That's the fundamental difference in the approaches between Cybeready and other organizations. It all started with maximizing the effectiveness of learning and development, not let's create a bunch of cyber content. So again, just again, the importance of engagement, I think, is really critical here, and we can't stress it enough.
Exactly. And this is a perfect opportunity, like you mentioned earlier, for real world feedback.
Yep.
Yes. Perfect. So now I want to show you guys the second portion of our console, which is going to be our content library. This is how we're going to continue to engage your users in so many different ways and deliver continuous bites that are going to help them move down the risk profile. And so there's a couple of things that I want you guys to know as I go through this. So one, there's over 57 different topics. So anything that you could possibly think of. I know, QR codes, ChatGPT are things that super heavy right now. And so we make sure that we constantly are updating this. We have an Israeli Red team that goes in once a month, and we will put in things that are relevant and take out things that are no longer relevant. In addition to that, everywhere you see one of these icons, it means that there is a custom poster available. And so we want to try to use multiple sources to connect with your users to increase their overall engagement. And then lastly, of course, similar to the phishing library that we have over there as well, we also have all 42 different language supports for this. And so I want to quickly show you what one of these continuous bytes look like. And keep in mind that it can be prioritized based on the program that you're in. We found that, certain things are more needed for like a high risk user. Maybe they need to look at CEO fraud a lot more often. And then everything else will be contextualized based on how your user has engaged. And so keep in mind, everything is individual. One size does not fit all. And so each of your users will be in their own mature learning program to really reduce their risk within the environment. And it's all automated. So I want to quickly show you an example. Let's just use passwords. So on this side, it quickly shows you some bytes. Hey, use passwords that are 12 characters or more, use phrases, keep it to yourself. There'll be a quick quiz question for your users. Once they answer that quiz question, it's immediately going to pop up another page where we're giving that positive reinforcement. Again, we're not having them go in to log in somewhere else to do their remedial training, but their remedial training is right there on the spot and what they need. And what I love about this is called the Fraud Squad. The Fraud Squad is a series that goes throughout all of our training. And I was always that girl growing up that I had to get burnt by the fire. And so this is a perfect example. Let's say your users decide not to, read the 3 quick bullet points that we sent. this is how the hacker would have been able to use and justify that situation to attack your network. And so we find that users love the fraud squad. Our engagement has been through the roof. And then, of course, we do support all types of accessibility in here as well for your users. And so we're making sure that everything is going to your users in context with what they need, in the language that they need, in the method that they train the best. So I do not want to go into everything, because if I talked about Cybeready and all the different functions and benefits that we have in our platform, I would talk for the next couple of days, maybe even longer than that. And so the last thing that I wanted to show you guys to tie this all together is how do we then, through all of this information that we're processing from your users and really starting to understand, how do we start to, break down that data to use it to give you something powerful for your environment? And so the answer is we give you automatically weekly, monthly, and quarterly reports. And our reports, you can slice and dice them in any way, but it already gives you a good ROI justification, but also good insight to what's been happening within your console in the last quarter. And so it quickly will show you, hey, what has happened within the console in the last quarter? How has my employee behavior changed? Like, where is the corporate culture coming from? Are they better at identifying phishing attacks versus reporting emails? And it'll give you a good snapshot into how culture is changing within your environment. I want to quickly know, what is our user click rate in their high risk user groups? How are my new employees doing? And when they're receiving their trainings, are they opening them? Are they answering their quiz questions correctly? We really, anything you could possibly think of, we slice and dice here. We can give you good visibility into the vulnerable departments, the departments that are increasing in risk. And then, of course, notably, you guys want to know what types of phishing emails and awareness bites that are either engaging your employees the most or tripping them up the most, because that helps us to be more effective. And so there really is a plethora of information that's in here. But I do want to highlight these two slides because arguably I think they're the most important, especially when you're talking to stakeholders in business. So first, how do I prove that my training has been effective within my program? And so what has happened since I've delivered this Cybeready software? What has happened to my phishing risk score change over time? Have my users started to report in a better manner? And what exactly are they reporting? And then what happens when they take this training content? Because there is a difference if a user, let's say, trips up on a CEO fraud type of email. I send them over a CEO fraud type of training, and then I send them another option of CEO fraud email. What's going to happen there? It's going to be a true test of whether that user was in our training and our delivery model was successful if they go and they click again. And so super important. And then arguably, I would say the most important thing here is going to be that high risk users group, because that's what you guys care about the most. And how are those trending over time? And so I'm not going to click through all of them, but between benchmarks by region, by industry, how are your new versus your veteran employees doing, to, how are your users reporting, we'll be able to touch on everything and make sure that we deliver impactful results for your users. And so on that note, Jerome, back over to you.
Hey, Debbie, I did just want to mention one thing on this. Is this, and I know you talked about it, but I want to highlight again and emphasize this content is all generated automatically through the push of a button. So as a CISO or head of security, I don't know how many folks we've talked to that say we spend weeks at the end of every quarter putting together these reports, and it's a total waste of my time, but I have to do it. Literally, Demi just created that report. So you can push the button, report gets created. So now as the CISO, you can spend time more analyzing these results and trying to plan for how to make them better versus creating a big report like this. So just want to make sure I emphasize that piece as well.